Okay, guys, we are back. You know what is so sad? It is so sad when you have to be literally hiding your life that you should be living because people do not understand boundaries. People don't respect boundaries and people consistently invade your privacy. People thinking that you asked to live a life that you never asked to live, and they are refusing to give you what you shouldn't be asking for, what you never created about yourself. But here you are having to consistently be hiding away, covering your face, closing your windows, closing your doors, getting security, doing this, doing that. And we're talking about Bianca Censori specifically. Bianca has done an interview, and I feel sorry for her in a sense, because she did an interview with Interview Magazine in this month, and it's in regards to the art show that she had in Seoul, Korea. So basically, this was her first major sit down where she addressed the backlash over her provocative fashion choices and her life in the public eye. She spoke through a proxy's voice, describing how women in the spotlight are forced to watch versions of themselves multiply without consent. Yeah, they are forced to watch versions of themselves multiply without consent. And when she says that, what she's talking about is not the people who copies her fashion look or her fashion choice. She's talking about just how the media talks about her, how people talks about her, and people have their own version of who she is. And this is the version that they consistently live by, and she has no say in it whatsoever. And this version, basically, it has framed her style as artistic expression rather than attention seeking. So what Bianca is doing as it relates to her art show, it's basically her using the backlash to tell a story. And so why we see those contortionists, wearing that face mask, those replicas of Bianca, and so why they were dressed in nude, and so why they were dressed in this phantom-like self of her, and she's basically turning the negative into creative material to spark like a cultural expression. It's like a cultural debate, and she's telling her story, and the story that she's telling, she's saying to the world, this is the version of me that y'all have created. And while the real version is over here, being authentic, I am different to all the replicas that you're seeing over here because this is me. I'm a person. I'm in the kitchen and I'm doing what I do, but you're over here creating these different versions of who I am without any challenges as to you're talking about me and you're giving me these personas, but have you stopped to think for a second that this is me over here and I'm not any of the versions that you have created over there? So she is controlling her narrative. She's taking back her story and she's telling it from her point of view. But let's take a look at this clip of Bianca basically telling her story through her proxy, and then I'll get back with the rest of my commentary.
They're spillages. They're what happen when a public image detaches from the person who animates it. A woman in the public eye is forced to watch versions of herself multiply without her consent. People project, people invent, people erase. This is not a confession of feeling trapped. This is an act of repossession. She is reclaiming the unauthorized clones. She is not trapped in her image. She is multiplying it until the original becomes myth. The doppelgangers are not copies of Bianca. They're spillages. They're what happen when a public image detaches from the person who animates it. A woman in the public eye is forced to watch versions of herself multiply without her consent. People project. People invent. People erase. This is not a confession of feeling trapped. This is an act of repossession. She is reclaiming the unauthorized clones. She is not trapped in her image. She is multiplying it until the original becomes myth. The doppelgangers are not copies of Bianca. They're spillages. They're what happen when a public image detaches from the person who animates it. A woman in the public eye is forced to watch versions of herself multiply without her consent. People project. People invent. People erase. This is not a confession of feeling trapped. This is an act of repossession. She is reclaiming the unauthorized clones. She is not trapped in her image. She is multiplying it until the original becomes myth.
At this time, I have to ask, does it even make sense Bianca Censori says anything? Because, sometimes there are just some things you can't win. I think she knows this because, she's questionable, no doubt about it, and she knows that she's questionable too, and she's admitting that she's questionable too, because the truth of the matter is, if you don't know someone, you genuinely don't know them. But I believe her point is the people are telling a story about her, and in these stories that they're telling about her, they're creating several different versions of who she is. And she has no say in it. Yes, and people have been definitely creating different versions of Bianca Censori. And I know that some of you guys may want to say, oh, but you've created different versions of her too. No, I haven't. I am conscious about what I've said about that girl, and my question will always remain the same. And I said, until it is clear, I will forever question, how is it that you allow someone to bring nitrous oxide into your home, to your husband? That's not me creating a different version of her, because that did in fact happen. And I read it in the Yeezy press release that they made public to the public. And they told us that, that man would deliver nitrous oxide to them, and I will forever question it. So that's not me creating a version of her. The people who create a version of her are the people who says all she does is to walk around naked. They say that she has gone to college, but she acts as though she doesn't have a brain or a brain cell. Those are people creating different versions of her. People saying, oh, Kanyewest is controlling her. She cannot think for herself. She cannot say no. She cannot do this. Anything Kanye says, she has to do it. And I've been saying, no, she doesn't have to. You can tell, and you could tell that there were times, just like with any other relationship, she wasn't feeling a particular outfit so much. And every time I say she wasn't feeling an outfit, there's something that comes back to back up my statement of her not feeling that outfit. So that's not creating different versions of her. Creating different versions of her are people saying that, all she does is walk around naked, because that's literally not all she does. You see her for a split second of the day. But at the end of the day, Bianca also has to understand and realize that when you're in the celebrity circle, when you're surrounded and when you're with a Kanye West, people are always going to have their opinion. And that's just the way it is. But she is reshaping that, and she wants people to know that their opinion of her doesn't define who she is, because she's saying to them, here are the different versions of me that you have created, and this is me right here. You guys still have no idea of who I am, and that is true. We really don't know who Bianca is. We have a sense of who she is. We have a sense of what she's like, but we really can't tell who Bianca is, because we really haven't met her in person. We haven't worked with her. We haven't gone to school with her. We haven't lived with her. But what I can tell is that from my observation, she's very smart, and not because you may see some things that may appear as though she's less than smart, It doesn't dismiss the fact that she is a smart woman, and yes, she has a functioning brain, and she's wiser than her years, I believe. But I also believe that behind all of that, there are people guiding her, people pulling her this way, which might be her father and her mom pulling her this way. You have Conway pulling this way, and then you have Bianca here pulling herself this way. So when it's like that, it can be hard for people to conceptualize who she is or have even, just a little bit of understanding who she is and what she's about. And people misinterpret people every day. People will see someone putting up a 30 seconds video on the internet talking about something, and because they don't agree with the person's talking point, they'll say to the person, "You're always on the internet. Don't you have something better to do with your day? This is what you do every day for the entire day," when in reality the video is just 30 seconds long, not even a minute. And people use a 30 seconds clip to assume that that's what the person does with the 24-hour of their day, when it's not even half true. So as such, Bianca has to understand that people will always talk shit, and that's just the truth. So with Bianca, I understand what she's saying, and she's taking control of the narratives about her, and she's turning it into art to tell her story. She is reframing the criticisms around her. She's challenging the norms. She positions herself as an artist, and she's using fashion as her performative art piece. And it's not just fashion and style. She's showing people in the midst of that she is educated, because you have to be highly educated to transform people's opinions of you, the gossips of the internet of you, into art form, and to transform it in such a creative, intellectual way. Because for her to have those phantom pieces, those contortionists wearing a face mask with a face looking like her, but behind the eyes it's all dead. There's no eyes really, so it's just a face. So basically she's saying those versions of me that you people are creating, it's not even real. There's no life there. This is where it's at. This is me. And those are the images that you all have created of me. That is your story of me. And in your story of me, there's the real me right over here, doing my thing, minding my business, and just enjoy being the creative individual that I am. I love to create. I'm an artist, and this is just how you guys see me, but this is how I see myself. She's not just vain. She's not just a person. She is multifaceted, multi-talented, and she's letting you know that she can literally create anything that she wants to. She just needs to conceptualize it, and she can turn it into reality. So she's not just a bare-faced phantom as you guys think, because that's how people tease her about her walking and saying that she acts as though there's nothing in her head, and she's saying a whole lot more than that. So I think she did an amazing job with her art show. As I've said to you guys, I think it was beautifully put together, and kudos to her. Kudos to Bianca for pulling off such an amazing show, so much so to capture the world of Interview magazine. Interview magazine is about art as well, and telling the many different stories of the many different celebrities, and it's really good to see them capturing and sharing the concept behind Bianca Censori art show. Now guys, it's your time to chime in. Leave your comment below. While you're at it, do all you need to on this video to support your girl. Peace.